The ANC has confirmed nominations for its elective conference will open on the 7th of September. The party's electoral committee chairperson, Kgalema Motlanthe, has warned candidates that they will be held responsible for contravention of any of the rules by their campaign teams. The party will hold its national conference in December. To take you further with that story, go to the ANC's headquarters in Johannesburg. Bring in our reporter Mbali Thethani, who was at that briefing, Mbali. So, less than 6 months to go to the ANC's national elective conference. Is the party confident, though, that it can root out vote buying, factionalism, and some of the other irregularities that have come to be associated with the conferences?
You're certainly right, Timegile. Of course, we've just heard from the Electoral Commission of the ANC and seeing that briefing being done by its chairperson, former President Kgalema Motlanthe, just clarifying in terms of the rules that will be observed at the 55th conference of the ANC. We know that the nomination process for those who would like to stand for positions in the party at this year's conference indeed do start on the 7th of September. But just to give us a bit more clarity in terms of the rules of conference, which we've just heard, we are joined by the ANC spokesperson, Pule Mabe. Pule Mabe, we've just seen the former president and the chairperson of the ANC's Electoral Commission, or committee rather, just telling us about what the NEC has decided upon. Would you say that the rules that the NEC has decided upon are fair, especially going into this conference?
Well, of course they are fair. The men and women that we have put together to be part of the Electoral Commission are people of integrity, great stamina. They have demonstrated their respect of internal processes. You would recall that this is the very team that we put forward to work with us on local government elections. And they had ensured that we are prudent in our own, the work that we are expected to do. We follow our own rules and all of that. You see, Mbali, you cannot put rules that you yourself are not going to be loyal to. The expectation is that we ourselves, members of the National Executive Committee, must be the first line of defense. We must be the ones that defend the rules. These rules, as they were presented as draft to us by the Electoral Committee, I can tell you now, a larger part of what they brought was endorsed by the National Executive Committee. We had raised our own issues. They went back, they refined those. And they still conducted, Comrade Kgalema, Chief Matsela, BT, Mayor, and the rest of the team. They went as far as making sure that they even set up provincial structures. Just yesterday, they had a workshop. They met as the committee over the weekend. They had a workshop yesterday. We've got a special NEC next week to be able to receive outcomes of the work that they've been doing. We're comfortable where we are, that the rules put forward will be ones that allow us, they are a full embrace of the democratic process of the African National Congress. And they actually, according everyone in the ANC who qualifies to stand, to have that right to stand, to nominate and to be nominated, they allow for open campaigning in a manner and way that does not display crass materialism, abuse of resources, vote buying, and all of that. And we are hoping that this now turns in a new leaf for the African National Congress. It now shows even all other parties that in the ANC, democracy is very much alive.
When you look at conferences of the ANC, they have constituted a number of slates. I mean, even stemming from the 54th conference of the ANC, something that these rules are also addressing is the issue around slates and is the issue around vote buying. Do you think that it is indeed enough to ensure that we don't see a repetition of what we've seen of other ANC conferences?
But we will not know if it is enough or not enough up until we put these rules to the test. It is for the first time, and this is a directive of the 54th National Conference. It directed us to establish the Electoral Committee, which we have done. We have brought in one of our stalwarts in the form of the former Deputy President of the ANC to lead that process. He has been SG, understands exactly what needs to happen, pays attention on detail, places the interest of the organization first. What is now required is for us in the National Executive Committee to support the work of the Electoral Committee.
All right, thank you very much. Of course, that is Pule Mabe. They're just talking about some of the rules, or rather the rules of the ANC's conference going into that 55th conference that will be held in Newzroom. And as you heard there, that the nominations for those who would like to stand, of course, Temegile, will now continue from the 7th of September. So it opens the way. You would know that the likes of the ANC Secretary General, who is indeed suspended, of course, he will not be allowed then when you look at the rules of conference, especially when it comes to NEC members, because you would see and know that if those who have pending charges against them or cases which find themselves within the courts, they will also then not be allowed to participate in that December conference. And at the same time, there are the issues around the late Deputy Secretary General of the party that also needs to be filled there.
Mbali, thank you very much for that update. Mbali's at the ANC's headquarters, Luthuli House in Johannesburg.